This video will walk you through filling out your voter registration form. To be eligible to vote in Arizona, you must be a U.S. citizen, 18 years of age by the date of the next election, and a resident of the state of Arizona. You're ineligible to vote if you've been convicted of more than one felony and have not had civil rights restored. With one felony, rights are automatically restored at the conclusion of any parole or probation, and a voter can immediately re-register. With multiple felonies, restoration of rights must be requested in court. Finally, if you are adjudicated incompetent by a court, you are unable to vote. There are two different ways you can vote. You can go in person on election day, or you can request to vote early through the mail. Before voting, you must decide if you'd like to be added to the Permanent Early Voting List, or PEVL. PEVL ballots are mailed out approximately 30 days prior to each election and must be returned, not postmarked, by election day in order to be valid. The many benefits to PEVL registration include voters receiving a ballot of any upcoming election. There's an extended 30-day return window, which allows for research of all the candidates and all their issues. PEVL eliminates last day election day crises that may prevent voting on the day of election. Early voting doesn't require proof of identification. And lastly, if the mail-in time frame is missed, PEVL ballots can be hand-delivered to any polling place in the county of residence. There are some challenges to PEVL voting, like the ballots cannot be forwarded to a new residence. Frequent moves does not work well with early voting. This is your official ballot. Going to the polls without your PEVL ballot will result in a provisional ballot the day of that particular election. If you request early voting, but do not participate in 2 consecutive elections, you'll need to fill out a completely new PEVL form. And finally, that 30-day window to vote can lead to simply forgetting to cast your vote. When filling out the voter registration form, there are multiple items to be completed. Be sure to write legibly. Item 1 asks if you'd like to be added to the PEVL list. Item 2 includes your name. Be sure to write last name, first name, then middle. Item 3 is your home address. 4, your apartment number if you live in one. 5, your city. 6, zip code. And item 7, your mailing address. Please be aware that if your address has changed since the last time you registered, you'll need to complete a new registration form with your current address. Items 8 to 11 are all related to citizenship. Arizona requires that voters prove their citizenship. You can do this by including your Arizona issued ID number. If you have this number, go ahead and put it in box 9. You do not need to fill out 8, 10, or 11. If you don't have an Arizona ID, please include item 8, which seeks the last 4 digits of your social security number. If you don't have that, then item 10 needs to include your tribal ID. Or item 11, which would be your alien registration number. Item 12, you'll need to include your birth date, including your month, day, and year. Number 13 requires that you write the state or country of birth. For example, United States of America or Arizona. Item 14 asks that you indicate your political party preference. You can choose Republican, Democrat, or other. Item 15 asks for your telephone number. This is necessary in case there are problems with registration. The county recorder can contact you to clarify. Items 16 through 19 are all optional. You can indicate here what's your occupation. 17 is for voters that have registered in another state. If you have, please share the registered county and state. Items 18, if your last name has changed, please list your previous last name. Item 19, please include your father's surname or your mother's maiden name here. Item 20 is an option to volunteer to work at a polling place on election day. If you're interested, check yes. "21 asks for your email address. This information is optional. "22 is an important question. Check yes for both, showing that you're indeed eligible to vote. These questions ask if you're a U.S. citizen and whether you'll be 18 years of age on or before Election Day. The last item is number 23. This is an area to draw a map for individuals who live in rural areas and do not actually have an address. This map helps define where the individuals will go to vote. Finally, you must sign and date your voter registration form. The form is not valid without a signature. If you're physically unable to sign the form, the person who helped you fill out the form can sign their name at the bottom, indicating that they helped you. The voter registration application has 2 copies. The top copy of the voter registration form goes to the county recorder's office. You can return your form to any commission staff or to the Arizona Commission for the Deaf and the Hard of Hearing office. You can hand deliver or mail. A staff person will make sure that it's delivered directly to the county recorder. The bottom page should be kept as your receipt until you get your voter registration card in the mail. You'll receive a voter identification card in the mail within 4 to 6 weeks of filling out your application. If you don't receive your card within that time frame, contact your county recorder's office. You can find their contact information at the Arizona Secretary of State's website. There are important dates to keep in mind for Arizona's primary and general elections. For the primary election, July 28, 2014, registration for primary election closes. July 31st, early voting begins. August 26, 2014 is Arizona's primary election. For Arizona's general election, the important dates are October 6, 2014, registration closes. October 9, 2014, early voting begins. And finally, November 4th, 2014 is Arizona's general election. For any additional information or any questions, feel free to contact the Arizona Commission for the Deaf and the Hard of Hearing. Now that you've registered to vote, go for it. Your vote counts.